Hello, everybody, and welcome to Chiquis and Chill. I have some very exciting news to share. So Apple Podcasts has this program called Spotlight. Basically, they pick one podcast they love and highlight it for an entire month so that more people can find it. That's right. Apple's editorial team listens to thousands of podcasts, and they chose Chiquis and Chill. It's the first iHeart podcast to be highlighted, so I'm super excited about this. So if it's your first time listening to the show, welcome, and I'm so happy you're here. And if you've been with me for a while, you know how I feel about you. Los amo. Chiquis and Chill is my comfort zone. I talk about anything and everything. Since I have you here, I wanted to remind you of some of my favorite episodes. We have one on cheating and betrayal, losing my mom Jenni, and a really important one with my fertility doctor on freezing my eggs. And of course, I've had interviews with some special guests, so be sure to check those out too. New episodes drop every Monday, you guys. Rate, subscribe to Chiquis and Chill. Don't forget. Now, let's start the show. It was frustrating for me. Finally, I'm like, hey, I don't like this. I'm not used to it. I want to petition to get custody of Johnny and Jenicka. When I saw that the person that was the guardian was Rosie, I was so confused, you guys. I was like, what? There's no one on this earth that will take care of those kids the way I will. I really think that my mom and I, because I didn't do it myself, my mom and I did a pretty great job with these kids. It's just something that makes me very proud. Hello, guys. I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in to Chiquis and Chill. It's been a minute since I've hopped on the mic by myself and just talked to you guys. So that's what we're doing today. I have something I want to open up about. Something that's really changed my life forever in the best way possible. Are you guys ready? Okay, good. Let's get into it. This is Chiquis and Chill. So, about a month ago, I posted this on my Instagram. If you're not following me, you should be. But anyways, I posted a few pictures of me and my siblings, Johnny and Jenicka, and part of the caption said, 8 years ago today, a judge granted me custody of Johnny, 13, and Jenicka, 17. Although I didn't need a piece of paper to know in my heart what my mother would have wanted and expected from me, it still made me feel good to know they were in the best hands. It was the best decision I've ever made. And if I may say so myself, I did a pretty damn good job. Hashtag proud sister. So that's what I want to talk about today. I want to tell you guys about my experience. This is in no way meant to be any kind of legal advice. I highly recommend you guys do your research if this is something you want to pursue, because it is important. As many of you may know, if you don't, my mother passed away December 2012. And I was basically her right hand, her right arm. She would always say that. And I helped her raise my siblings since I could remember. I think my earliest memory of cooking on a chair, cooking breakfast for my siblings, I was 10 years old. I had no business being by a stove. Okay, you guys, so be very careful. But anyways, I was 10 years old and I would make them huevitos. This is actually Jackie, who is now, how old is she? She's a mother of 4, is married. I don't even know how old. She's 30-something, my sister Jackie. And then Mikey. So they were very little, and my mom was working. She was a single mother, and I had to take care of them. And then a few years later, I was 16, actually 12 when Jenicka was born, and then 16 when Johnny was born. So, especially with Johnny, I was his mom since he was 6 months old. My mom told me one day, here's your son, here's your baby. I need to go to work. I got to go on the road, and you got to take care of him. So I can say I became a mother at 16 years old. I mean, I feel like a lot younger, because of my other siblings. But with Johnny, it was the first time my mom said, here you go. You're old enough. You need to help me. Because her career was just, even with Jenicka, I remember when she got pregnant with Jenicka, I walked into the room and she was crying. She was pulling her hair. And I'm like, Mom, what's wrong? I was, of course, very worried. And she just said, I'm pregnant and I don't know what to do. My career is doing so well. This is gonna, slow me down. And I was like, Mom, it's okay. It's a blessing and I'll help you. And so she felt better about it. Even with Johnny, she was not planning on getting pregnant. It just happened with both of I think, honestly, with all of us, except Mikey was the only planned and quote unquote wanted child. And she'll say this herself. I'm not saying anything that, she wouldn't have said and she hasn't said in her book. Porque pues no está para defenderse, pero I mean, these are the conversations we had. And she was very honest. So I'm being honest with you guys. And anyways, so that's all I've ever known. Okay. So I was 26 when my mom passed away. And her and I weren't on speaking terms. And again, if you guys want to know a little bit more in detail, I talk about these two things, about everything actually, in both my books, Forgiveness and Unstoppable. I have it in Spanish as well. So it was really nothing new to me because I've always been that second mother to my siblings. So when my mom passed away, I just didn't know. I felt like I was starting a new life without my mother, without my siblings, and there was no communication whatsoever. I think within those 2 months, Johnny snuck to see me, I think like once or twice. It was just really difficult. It was a really difficult time for me. So when we got the news that my mom had passed, I got a phone call when I was driving because I was in Vegas when I found out my mom had passed away. I was in Vegas and they said, come to your grandma's house. She lived in Lakewood. That's about 4 hours away driving. So I said, okay, come to your grandma's house. They can't find your mom's plane. I honestly, I've never driven so fast, you guys. Again, that's another thing I don't recommend. Be safe, wear your seatbelt. You guys know how I am. I always say it. But it was just a horrible moment. I was driving to my grandma's house thinking, are they going to accept me? Are they going to talk to me? How am I going to feel? I haven't talked to the kids. I felt so weird. There were so many things going on emotionally and mentally. And then I got a call from Jenicka. And she said, sister, where are you? And I said, I'm on my way. Are you okay? She said, no, I need you here. We need you here. Please, please come. So that just honestly, I don't know if it was my mom or God sending me that, but it just automatically, that moment was like, okay, I need to be strong for my siblings. I don't know if my mom's coming back. I hope she does. But with that phone call, it just made me feel powerful, like invincible. I'm like, okay, I got to toughen up. I got to put on my big girl panties and I got to go save these kids in some ways. What I felt like I was their hero, and it just made me feel like Popeye. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, I got to be strong. And it gave me that strength and it gave me that confidence to walk into my grandma's house and say, I don't give a shit what anyone thinks about me or has to say. I'm here for these kids. My mama mode just went in on high gear, you guys. And I didn't care. I walked in and everyone was really nice. Everyone, obviously, we're all worried, going through our own emotions, And anyways, I was there and I did not leave their side. We were at my grandma's house, you guys, for 2 weeks. Johnny and I slept on the floor in my grandpa's office and we just slept there. And it was a bunch of us. It was chaotic. People playing my mom's music outside. There were so many fans, which was beautiful, but it was just so crazy. It was just a time that was just, I don't know. I don't remember every detail because it's kind of like a blur, but I do remember holding on to Johnny. He was 11 at the time and Jenicka was 15. And I just felt that I needed to be there for them. Not that I didn't need to be there for my other siblings because obviously, we were all going through some type of horrible pain and you know what I mean? But I just felt like the need to be there for Johnny and Jenicka. And anyways, I had my own little apartment. It wasn't even an apartment, you guys. I think I've told you guys before, I lived in a garage. It was a garage that was converted into a 1-bedroom. And that was where I converted the 1-bedroom to my closet. And then I slept in the living room / kitchen area. I'm so crazy. But anyways, that's where I lived. I was starting a new life. I was taking therapy twice a week during that time. So I felt stronger. I felt like, okay, I kind of was asimilando que iba a tener otra vida. And then it just came in just out of left field and I didn't know what to do. We didn't talk about it during those 2 weeks. After we buried my mom, that's when the conversation happened where Johnny's like, are you going to live with us? Are you going to move back in? And I honestly, I was thought about it a little bit because I didn't want to be intrusive or invasive because I still hadn't had that conversation with my mom. And I never was. I was never going to be able to have that conversation. So I just felt weird. It was just awkward. But I knew in my heart that what she needed and expected from me and what she had prepared me my entire life, you guys. Now that I look back, I was she was preparing me for that moment, for this moment. I knew I had to be there for my siblings. So I was so comfortable in my little place. I had already had my own little routine. I had just opened up Blow Me Dry, my salon, and everything was put on hold. Thank God. I had a lease, I think, of 2 years, and the lady was so sweet, and she let me break it. She was really sad that I was leaving, and I moved back into our Encino home with the kids, and I believe my brother, Mikey, was living there at the time in my old room, what used to be my old room, so I moved into what used to be Jackie's old room. That was a little weird, but I was like, okay, whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to kick my brother out. I'm not going to lie, I tried, but he was not having it. He's like, no. So I stayed in Jackie's room and I made it my little home. And I was there for my siblings. In the will, my mom left Rosie, her sister, as the guardian of the kids. I think more than anything, because I was disinherited, that didn't hurt me. I was like, mi mamá me enseñó a ganarme mi dinero a trabajar. I'll be fine. I wanted my kids, my kids. Here I go. See, it just comes out naturally. My siblings. I wanted my siblings to be okay. But that hurt me when I saw that the person that was the guardian was Rosie. I was like so confused, you guys. I was like, what? Like how? There's no one on this earth, no one that will take care of those kids the way I will. So that's one thing that I was very upset with my mom for a long time. And I will admit it. I was upset. I was holding some type of resentment. 2013, you guys, was the fucking hardest year of my life because I miss my mom. I wish I could talk to her. I was upset with her. I couldn't believe that she had left this mess and I had to pick it up. And it was hard. So hard. So I didn't say anything. I said, that's fine. I don't need a piece of paper to freaking tell me that these are my children, that I'm going to take care of them, that I'm the only one that knows what they like to eat, what they don't like, how to like get through to Johnny, because Johnny has always been somewhat of a difficult child and he only listened to me. So I was like, fine. So Rosie lived in the home because, you know, on the will it said that the guardian had to live where the children lived. So they moved in, her and her husband and her children moved into my mom's house and we all lived together for about a year. That was very hard. Very, very hard because I wasn't used to it, obviously. I hadn't talked to my mom. I didn't know how things were running in the house. I just knew how I did things. And then Rosie was there, but she was pretty respectful as to like allowing me to do things in the house the way they needed to be done. And with the kids, she never really got in the middle of that. And we tried to live there together. And I'm telling you, it was tough. And then taking the kids to school and again, I didn't even have to ever ask my mom for quote unquote permission or like, hey mom, like everyone knew me at school, like, you know, with the kids, like I would take them to school. I would go to the teacher parent conferences, to the open houses, to all of that. So on top of everything that I was going through in 2013, I had to deal with having Rosie have to ask her for permission. Like, hey, can you write me a letter? Can you go with me to the school? Because I got to get Johnny or Jenicka. And it was too much, you guys. I was just like, oh my God, I couldn't. It was frustrating for me. And finally, I asked her, hey, I think it's time. I think after like 2 years, I think she had already moved out. She lived at my mom's house with her family for about a year. And then I'm like, hey, I don't like this. I'm not used to it. I want to petition to get custody of Johnny and Jenicka. And she didn't even think about it twice. She said, okay, yeah, that's fine. I said, oh, okay, well, that was easy, you know? So I started the process. I asked for an attorney to help me. And it was, I want to say roughly about 6 months. I just wanted to have the freedom and the liberty to take these kids to their doctor's appointment, to enroll them into school because I had to switch Jenicka out of public school into like a private school because she was having a tough time. So it just made my life a lot easier. Jenicka was 17. So really I only like had custody of her for about a year because then as soon as she turned 18, she wanted to be independent, wanted to move out or whatever, you know. But it was the best decision I have ever made. Again, like I said on my Instagram post, I didn't need a piece of paper to do what I knew my mom expected from me as her daughter and as the sister of these kids and as like the second mother. But it felt really good to know that they were definitely, and I say that with all the confidence in the world, in the best hands ever. I do wish my mom would have left me as the guardian. I understand she was upset and she was going through her own feelings. And now I'm not upset. Now I have forgiven her. We're good. You know what I mean? But I did go through all those emotions. That's just how I felt, you know, and you guys know I'm always very honest and transparent with you guys. But I'm glad that I fought in a way. I didn't have to fight because Rosie knew. She always said, those kids are yours. In many ways, they're more yours than even your mom's because she was working and she didn't think about it. Now, I'll be honest. I don't think any of my family members had an issue, though. I think they knew. Like, I raised those kids, you know, especially Johnny. Yo fui la que le quité la teta I think he was like 2.5 years old. And that was so hard, you guys. He just wanted his freaking bottle. And it was just one damn bottle that he wanted all the time. So since he was little, he was just a creature of habit. Like he had one blanket that he would not let me wash. He would always carry it everywhere. He had that one bottle that had a big ass fucking hole because he liked to bite on it on the nipple. And it stunk because he just wanted that bottle, that damn freaking blanket. And I'll never forget, maybe this is a little traumatizing, but the babysitter, because I did have people that would help me because it was a lot, she gave it to him. I had hidden it and she gave it to him. And I look back one day, he was in his car seat. And I remember telling him, give me your bottle. So he gave it to me and I threw it out of the window while we were driving. He said I devastated him so much. But these are the things, you guys, that I did since I was little. I was a child, raising a child. I was 17, 18 years old, trying to raise this kid. So the point is, they're my kids and I still feel that. And now that I think about it, though, and I'm going to be really honest, I was just telling Johnny the other day when I wrote the post, I said, it is fucking crazy to me that Rosie, who was also the trustee of my mom's estate for a while, never thought, because I had 60, I believe it was 60 or 90 days when the trust and the will was given to us, to her children. And of course, there was I believe an amendment there that took me out. She had to show me those things, but I had the 90 days to fight it. And I didn't because I was like, it's fine, whatever. I'm going to be all right. And God is going to help me because he knows my heart. He knows that I don't deserve this, but I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? She knows everything that I did for my mother. And never did she think, okay, I'm going to do things right, or I'm going to try to help her because that's maybe the right thing, or maybe, I don't know. She didn't even think about it twice to give me custody or hand over these two lives to me like nothing. You know what I mean? In a way, it makes me feel good because it's like she knew they're going to be in the best hands. But I'm just like, I'm like, damn, that's crazy. I don't know. But the good thing is that happened. I think I did a great job. I'm very, very, very proud of my siblings. Johnny's 21 and he's working for my mom's enterprises. He's so passionate about my mom's project. He's the one that runs my mom's Instagram. And I love to see them doing their thing. He went to school. He's going to finish, hopefully, like to the LA Film and Production School. And he knows a lot about music. And I'm just so proud of the child that he is, because losing his parents at 11 years old, to see the great heart that he has, and he's so intelligent. I'm not saying he's perfect. There are things that we still work on, like taking out the damn trash. And I have to remind him to wash the dishes and stuff like that. But whatever. At the end of the day, he's a great kid. He still respects me very much. I have his location. I am that sister. I have Jenica's location too. I'd probably have Jackie and Mikey's if they'd allow it, but they don't. But I really think that my mom and I, because I didn't do it myself, my mom and I did a pretty fucking great job with these kids. Jenica's doing her thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something that makes me very proud. They were at the house the other day. We were having a pool party, and to see my sister with her kids, and just like, I sit back and I look at my family and I'm like, I know my mom is so proud of us because we've been through hell and back and we're still okay and we're still united. And I pray to God that we continue to be that way, because that's the best way that we can represent my mother. And that's what I think she expects from us. Maybe there's someone here listening to Chiquis and Chill and they want to know how to go about getting custody. Again, I can't give you guys like the legal advice because, of course, I'm not a lawyer or anything. But, I got a lawyer and I said, hey, I want to get custody. Like, can you guide me? You can also do it yourself, like online at your nearest like courthouse. But an attorney, I feel like, helps a little bit quicker. They know a lot more. But look, as far as that goes, that's the best advice I can give you. That's what I did. And be patient because it does take a little bit of time. And it is a big responsibility. I'm not going to tell you guys that it's just easy breezy because it wasn't. I went through a lot, especially with Johnny, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 years old. Even 17 and 18 were tough, you guys. They were tough. I was trying to raise a boy. The only father figure that he had, or the person that he respected, was my ex-boyfriend, Angel. He still actually has communication with him. And that's the only father figure he had, but it was a very short period of time. So it was tough. It was tough. I read a lot of books, but the one I remember is Parenting Teens for Dummies. Oh my gosh, it helped me so much because I didn't know. I was like, and I was so tough. You guys, I was tough. I was tough on Johnny. Jenicka didn't give me too many problems until she got a little older. But with Johnny, I mean, raising a boy is tough and teaching him so many things. And I was hard. I was hard on him. I did discipline him many times, and I'm glad I did. And I learned very quickly that with Johnny, what worked best was taking away his electronics, taking away his phone, taking away his Xbox. I broke his Xbox once because he wasn't listening. He didn't clean his room, so I broke it. I even erased his Instagram once, you guys. He had like over 200,000 followers or something like that. And I was that tough parent. I had no other choice. I was a single mother trying to raise this kid who obviously was going through a lot because he lost both his parents at 11. Jenicka was 11? I don't remember. But regardless, they were young. So imagínate, they were going through their own things, trying to navigate through life without their parents. But I had that schooling from my mom of, okay, this is what you went through, because she was like that with me. Yes, you were sexually abused, Chiquis, but I'm not going to allow you to be a victim. Yes, you are a victim, but I'm not going to allow you to victimize yourself. And that's kind of the type of tough love that I had with them, especially with Johnny. It's like, okay, we got to move on. There was something that my mom was doing on Twitter like a few months before she passed away. She was using the hashtag life goes on a lot, almost every other day. So that kind of helped me with them. Like, mom even said it, like, we have to be strong for her. If we fall, we got to get up and dust ourselves off. It was just, I had no other choice but to be that way to get us through what we were going through, especially me. Like I always say, if it wasn't for Johnny and Jenicka, like I don't know what would have happened to me. ¿Qué sería de mi vida? ¿Qué fuera de mi vida? If it wasn't for them, because they are my little lifesavers. They kept me alive, especially Johnny. Like Johnny, since I started my music career, was there and he's been my number one fan, and his now gives me advice and tips, and I listen to him because he's so freaking talented, you know? So I was just telling Johnny the other day, I sent him a message and I said, Papa, thank you so much for being there for me. He's been my little life partner since I could remember, you know, since he was a baby boy. He's been my little life partner, and he helped me grow up from a girl to a woman. They both did. All my siblings, really. And I don't know, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change it for anything. Only God knows why our life turned out this way and why we were dealt the hand that we were dealt. But our job is to represent our mother, and that's why for me it's so important as the eldest, and I always say it, like, to keep us together and keep us united and stay strong. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to argue. But I sent in our group message, we have a little family group message. It's called La Plebada, is what we call our group message of my siblings and I. And I sent them a message. I was a little buzzed. I'm not going to lie, I was a little buzzed. I was at the bowling alley with Emilio, and I got buzzed and I got really emotional. I'm like, dude, we have to stay strong. Like, 'cause there's so much going on, you guys. I wish I could tell you how much is going on behind the scenes and how much it hurts me to see my siblings, especially Johnny and Jackie, you know, because they're the ones that work the most at the office, and to see Jackie cry, and it freaking breaks my heart. So I was telling him, like, I know we're going through a lot. I know a lot of things are coming up to the surface, things about the estate and things about my mom's businesses and just stuff that very disappointing and disheartening things, you guys, that I'd rather us keep to ourselves for now, you know, or I don't even know if we'll ever talk about this. But I was telling them, I'm like, you know, we have to stay strong. We're going to argue. We're going to have disagreements, but I am not going to allow you guys not to talk to each other for X amount of days. Like, we need to fix this shit quick. Why? Because I'm a prime example that my mom and I weren't able to speak, and time is of the essence. We don't know what tomorrow brings, and the moment is now. That's what I was telling them. I was going on and on. I sent them like 5 voice notes, really long. They all hated it, but they're like, yes, sister. Yes, sister. But I was in my feelings, and I'm like, that's what it's about. It's just staying united and staying strong. And I always think of my mom, because that's what she wants. That's what she expects. I know it. That's what she told me all the time. Don't be like my siblings and I, fighting. It is your responsibility, and I expect you to keep you and your siblings together. And you guys are all that you have at the end of the day. She would always tell me that since I was little, you guys. Anyways, I wanted to share this with you guys because a lot of people asked me, a lot of people sent me beautiful messages commenting on my post, and I just felt it in my heart to talk about it and to let you guys know that, yeah, that's my life and it's part of my life and I love it and I really wouldn't change it. Obviously, if I could have my mom here, that'd be amazing. But even the argument that her and I had 2 months before she passed, it's crazy, but even that was meant to happen the way it happened, because I don't know if I would have been as strong. I feel like I was a few steps in the healing process before everyone, my whole family. And of course, I was going through a lot, but I felt like those 2 months gave me the time to kind of realize or prepare for what was coming. And I could be strong enough for my siblings. La verdad que sí siento que todo pasa por algo. Everything happens for a reason. And God has a perfect plan. And He knows why. And He knows how. And I was one of those people that le reclamé. I was like, God, why is this happening? Why did you do this to me? Until I learned that it's not that life is happening to us. It's happening for us. Take some time to get to that point, to really be like, oh, shoot. You look back and you're like, damn, I can't believe I was there. I can't believe I went through that. And you kind of chuckle a little bit like, damn, I really thought when I was going through it that I was never going to get out of it. And now you're looking in from the outside and saying, damn, I'm here. And that's where I'm like, no one can tell me God doesn't exist. A stronger force doesn't exist in this world, because I have lived and have gone through and survived so much in my life that there's always something positive to look forward to. Thank you for always listening to me, for being here with me, for supporting me on this podcast, on Chiquis and Chill. It's been amazing, you guys. This podcast has helped me so much. So much. And I'm getting emotional. But thank you guys. Thank you. And you guys know that I always have a quote for you. It's something that I always say with my siblings and I. We may not have it all together, but together we have it all. I don't know what that means to you, but to me it means a lot. So there it is. That's the quote. Thank you for listening. Again, los quiero mucho y los espero en el próximo episodio de Chiquis and Chill, you guys. Besos a todos y como siempre, ahí van. Do you need advice on love, relationships, health, y más? I'm so excited to share with you that my Chiquis and Chill podcast will have an extra episode drop each week. I'll be answering all your questions. Just leave me a voice message con todas tus preguntas y yo te las voy a contestar personalmente. All you have to do is go to speakpipe.com/Chiquis and Chill podcast and record your questions. I can't wait to hear from you. This is a production of iHeartRadio and the My Cultura Podcast Network. Follow us on Instagram at My Cultura Podcast and follow me, Chiquis, that's CHIQUIS. For more podcasts from iHeart, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.